Hello everybody. Let me just switch over to the camera. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching, but I guess it's good afternoon for most of you. I'm a bit excited today. I don't know why. I just feel sort of like a bit bouncy, you know? A bit like your bouncy friend. Probably not the best state to be in for meditation, but don't worry, we'll get there. So this meditation session will follow on from the previous one that I did 2 weeks ago. But basically, really you want to have done some work on the central channel in order to maximize the benefit you get from this. If you've done no work on the central channel and you've not done any exercise beforehand, you probably won't get an awful lot from it. But it's still worth a try to see how it goes. Then the next best from that, or the next least worst from that, is to spend a bit of time, just now doing one of your favourite Tai Chi Qigong exercises. Better still to have actually done that previous meditation, either then, recently, or just now, I don't know. And of course that depended on you doing some Tai Chi Qigong beforehand as well. Before we jump into this, I just wanted to give you some reasons for why I'm feeling a bit excited. I've decided that now is the time perhaps to open up the inner circle for this year. So I did pilot an inner circle program for last year, which a few people signed up for, and the feedback was reasonably good. We had a few technical problems from time to time. That's the reason why I piloted it, so I could make sure I could get the tech right and make sure I'm using the right platforms and what have you. I think those things are touch laminate. Actually I've got some wood here, touch wood, are pretty much sorted now. Although I expect, as I say that, things will start to go wrong with this video, but that's just the way it is, isn't it? I think I've got that sorted now, so I'm going to look into opening up Inner Circle for this year. So the way the Inner Circle works is basically we'll have a fortnightly meditation session like the ones we've been doing publicly recently, which allows us to dive a bit deeper. So I probably won't be running many more public meditation sessions for the foreseeable future. I'm sure I'll come back and do some more from time to time. Because we kind of got to a point now where, okay, we've kind of covered some basics and you've tried it out and you've done some stuff and hopefully it's been beneficial for you. Now we need to dive a bit deeper, and that requires me to have worked with you, or for you to have worked with Dr. Shen or one of his students, so that we can be clear that you are at you have a decent understanding of some basics. So you can say that you've watched the public videos, and maybe you have, but I haven't seen you, and I haven't you haven't had any feedback from me, and that is absolutely crucial really to move on. Okay, but on the other hand, I want as many people to sign up as possible, so I need to figure out a way of allowing those people that haven't had feedback from me, simply because of the situation we're in, to get some feedback from me. And I think there's two things I'm going to try and do. The first thing is, the best thing actually, is to actually have some kind of face-to-face session. That would probably have to be one-to-one, maybe not, but we'll see. And it would have to be outdoors, and obviously we would have to be doing the necessary social distancing in order for that to work and to be legal in this country at this time. That's probably the best way to do it. Failing that, I may well consider doing something online where we have a one-to-one session, either over Skype or WhatsApp or something like that, where it's encrypted, closed one-to-one session where we can work on the things that you need to work on, and I need to be clear that you understand before you dive into the inner circle thing. Okay, so that's that announcement, and probably I'm looking to kind of start it around about the end of June, so not long away, and probably I'll fail at that, but let's see how it goes. The other thing is, which may or may not be of much interest to you, but worth telling you about, is I'm going to try to do, and I think I'm going to succeed actually, because I've been doing it anyway. I'm going to try and do a kind of Qigong fitness exercise via YouTube live stream, probably going to be every Tuesday late morning. This is to kind of compensate for not doing my Tuesday lunchtime sessions that I have been doing down at the local gym, which was always kind of geared up to be more kind of gentle fitness exercise. It's still using Tai Chi Qigong, it's still using the Qigong that I teach and various bits and bobs around that, certainly from the Wuxi system. But it's more about getting moving in a kind of safe, careful way. So if you're interested in that, or you know somebody who is interested in that, then do let them know. The first session will be next Tuesday. I think it's at 11 o'clock in the morning. But check on this YouTube channel; it should get advertised soon. Also on the Facebook pages as well. If you've been missing doing Qigong with me, it might be worth tuning into that. I think it definitely would be worth tuning into that, because it is going to be Qigong. It's just that it's going to be structured in a way where we get the heart rate up a little bit. So you do a bit of a warm up and a bit of a stretch. Everything, within Tai Chi Qigong is geared up for doing that, provided you structure it that way. And then once you've done a bit of stretch, then we'll do, an exercise a little bit faster than normal, but not vigorously fast. And then towards the end of the session, we do a cool down and we do some more stretching. And of course, again, Tai Chi Qigong is all about stretching anyway, so it should work out quite nicely. But let's see how it goes. Another pilot. Okay, so that's why I'm a little bit bouncy, because I thought, I'm going to try that, let's do that. But now to today. This is about finding, often I would say finding your center. Dr. Shen used to say finding your center of mind. Maybe finding your center of brain is worth describing it, although there's a bit more to it than just finding the centre of the brain, but certainly that's a key part. But for it to really work nicely, you have to have all of this physical foundational stuff in place. So we have to be nicely open. So having done the Tai Chi Qigong exercise, maybe the chest Dao Yin or the shoulder Dao Yin or the heaven and earth ideally, if you know that, to get the channels already open. And also maybe having done at least a little bit of that kind of exercise that we covered in the last meditation video. Okay, so I've got a timer here and I'm going to start it. I'm just letting you know that because I want to make sure that I keep track of how long we've got and what I'm doing. So, finding the centre of mind is kind of like, you may have heard people talk about single pointedness. That can be one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it for somebody who's never done meditation before, or somebody who's tried to meditate by reading a book and then doing it, or even not reading a book and just trying it and it's just not worked for them, that may not be the best way of thinking of it. Another way of thinking of it is that in order to meditate, you need to be in a place where you can get close to being empty, to emptying your mind. And this technique is kind of like being a bit of a compromise. It's saying, well, having an empty mind is a really difficult thing even to think about, to just think about or talk about that, what the hell that means, let alone do it. So, because emptiness is about nothing, it's about thinking about nothing, but if you think about nothing, then you're thinking about something. So you're not even doing that. so it's quite difficult to grasp and talk about and think about, because you don't want to think about it. It's better to actually go, well, let's just think about one thing. Let's just go down to one thing, because that's probably a lot better than what we're doing right now. And then going from one thing to no thing is much, much easier than going from where we are now to no thing. So we have this idea then that we focus on one thing, and that one thing is what Dr. Shen called the centre of the mind. And I say Dr. Shen called it rather than I'm calling it that, because I'm still not sure whether that's the best name for it, because it may confuse, or it may make you think of something slightly different than what it is. But it's the best name that I can think of at the moment that I can use, so I shall call it what Dr. Shen called the centre of the mind. And it has at least two facets to it, two aspects to it. The first of those aspects is placing and focusing your attention on a single place. And there's lots of meditations that you can do where you're focusing, and we have done actually, focusing your attention on a single place. But this single place is key, because it's where according to the Wuxi system, your thought physically originates. So that place is in the centre of the head, in the centre of the brain, if you like. So by that we mean it's behind this point here, so just a little bit away, maybe half an inch above where your eyebrows would meet. But then also it's some way back, about middle, hence the centre of your head, centre of your brain. Yeah, so it's there and there, some way back. What does that mean, placing your awareness there? How do you place your awareness? What is your awareness? Well, that can vary according to how you think, if you like. For me, it's a very kinesthetic thing. That's why I love Tai Chi and Qigong. They're very physical things. So it can be a feeling. It can also be a sound. You can kind of try and hear it in a sort of visualized way or an imagined way. And also you can see it. For those people that are very, very visual, they have a very visual imagination, you can use your visual imagination to locate that place. But without getting some rather nasty surgical tools and digging inside your head, you couldn't really put your finger or any tactile object on it. So it's quite, it's not difficult, but it's it's a heuristic process to find it. You have to do trial and error, and what Dr. Shen called fine-tuning, which I think is a really good term, so I wouldn't say Dr. Shen called it, by fine-tuning your locativeness of your awareness. So that's your awareness, and that's where we want it to be. Let's have a go at just doing that for now, shall we? And the trick that I use, which some of you may already be aware of, is to start with perhaps one of the most sensitive parts of the body that you can think of and work from there. And the most sensitive part of the body that I can think of, or one of the most sensitive parts, is the tip of my tongue. It has the ability to feel. It has a touch sense to it, but it also has a taste sense to it, and both of those senses are very, very sensitive. It's very, very very, very fine sort of sense to it. And of course, so that's for a kinesthetic kind of thing, but also for I'm trying to think of what the posh word is for taste, but for the taste side of things as well. If you've got a sense, if you sort of taste everything that you imagine, then that can work for you. So I'm just closing my eyes now because I'm just now moving my awareness to the tip of my tongue. So give that a go as well. So try to feel from the inside the tip of your tongue and try and imagine that you have become that little man that we saw in that Woody Allen film, and you've gone into this sort of very, very, not a small point, but a sort of a pea-sized point at the tip of your tongue, so that you can kind of imagine what the tip of your tongue would see if it had an eye, and also what it would hear if it had ears. You don't have to imagine what it can taste, and you don't have to imagine what it can feel, because it has those senses anyway. So then you use your tip of your tongue and you place it on the roof of your mouth. And in fact, you're going to place it in a specific point on the roof of your mouth. You're going to sort of slide it backwards until you get to the soft part of the palate. So it's quite a way back. Once you got there, then move it forwards a bit. Move it forwards about, I don't know, what feels like ½ an inch, let's say. And then notice what you can feel. Notice what the roof of your mouth feels like as you touch it with the tip of your tongue. Really notice it. So really explore it, actually. Sort of try to build up a tactile and visual and aural, if you like, picture in your mind of the roof of your mouth from the perspective of the tip of your tongue. Also, what does it taste like? Probably hasn't got much of a taste, but make a note of that too. And then all of that together is like a sort of a sensory molecule, where each atom of that molecule is a different modality, different sense modality. Now all of that molecule, all of that information is happening in the tip of your tongue. So by focusing your sensory awareness on the tip of your tongue, you've now focused your awareness on the tip of your tongue. Of course, we don't want it on the tip of the tongue, but that's a brilliant place to start, because at least the tongue is in the head, yeah? So it's not far away from where we want it to be, but it's not close enough yet. So in order to make it move a bit, put it back on the roof of the mouth, put it back on that point that you had it on. And then notice what the tip of your tongue feels like to that point in the roof of your mouth. Obviously that point in the roof of your mouth can't taste your tongue, but really become acutely aware of the tip of the tongue. What's the texture like? What's the temperature like? Is it cold? Is it warm? Is it dry? Is it wet? Hopefully it's wet, but try to discover all tactile aspects of your tongue from the perspective of the roof of your mouth, that point. So that you're now focusing and concentrating your sensory awareness on that point in the roof of your mouth. You've shifted your awareness out of your tongue into the roof of your mouth. Sorry if my closing of my eyes is distracting. I'm just turning my awareness inwards, and I recommend you do the same. Just allow the eyelids to close so that you can feel that. Now, keeping your awareness there, take your tongue away and just hold that blob of awareness, little tiny pea-sized blob perhaps of awareness, just around that surface of the roof of the mouth. And then gradually try to make it creep upwards. It's going to creep up. Of course, it's got the nasal cavity to go through, but you can just imagine it going through that and coming up the other side. Because the other side of that cavity, the sort of cavity here, the sinuses, is then taking you into your brain, which is where we want you to go, where you want to go. And as soon as you get in there, actually you'll find that your brain is really quite sensitive. It's quite, you can get quite a strong response from focusing your sensory awareness in it. And you're just going to move up until it's roughly where you think it should be. And that's the best that you can do for now, is just make it roughly where you think it should be. Now, when we do the meditation with this, what I would ask you to do is to move it around a little bit. Not a lot, and not fast, but just try shifting its position slightly from time to time to see how your experience of the meditation changes as a result of that. Now, it may be very subtle actually how it changes. You may not notice anything. But that is your beginning, if you like, to really properly finding the centre of the mind in a physical sense. This is your sort of physical and subtle anatomy, a very, very important part of it that we want to zoom in on and focus on. Okay, so that's part one. So keep your awareness there as best you can as I talk through the next bit. The next bit is a little bit more, I can't think of the proper word really. Profound is what's springing to mind, but actually the overall meditation is profound. But this is just sort of subtle, I suppose is the word. What we're going to do is we're going to try and shift our state of consciousness. And talking of it like that can make it seem really complicated, possibly. Because you're kind of thinking, well, what the state of consciousness is anyway? Do I have one? Does it change? How do I do that? Well, that's a really good question, because that's the thing that we need to do. We need to do the how and not worry about what it's doing really in technical terms. The how is to try to shift your state of being towards sleep. So we're going to try and have something like, very close to, a bit of a nap. Nothing like an afternoon nap, is there? Except that we're not quite going to go to sleep. We're going to go halfway between. And the thing that did it for me, that really made this understandable for me, was when Dr. Shen described it as just looking back to childhood, when you've been asleep and in a dream, and maybe not in childhood actually, but when you've been asleep and in a really nice dream, I don't know, maybe you've gone into a sweet shop and the owner said, help yourself to whatever you want, and you're just about to start digging in. And then a parent comes in, your mother, father, brother, sister, somebody comes in and wakes you up. Maybe the refuse collection is happening, it's making so much noise, it's disturbing you, and it starts to wake you up, but you don't want to wake up because you want to have those sweets. So you kind of find yourself straddling these two, the best word I can use is places, the dream and reality. The memory that I always have is Christmas Day. I was always one to, certainly when I was very young, to just like to sleep until it's time to wake up. Isn't that great? You don't have anything waking you up. You just sleep until you're ready to wake up, and then you wake up and then you get up. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah. But of course I got a big brother, and he came running into my bedroom. Not that I knew that because I was asleep, but then he would start shaking me and going, Mark, wake up, it's Christmas Day, it's Christmas Day. And I can't remember what the dream was, but I was, having a really nice dream. I was thinking, no, I don't want to wake up yet. I want to finish this dream first. But of course, he was a persistent boy, so he he kept on and woke me up, but it took a while, and there was a period of time where I was between those two states. And that is where we want to be now. That is where we want to be when we do this meditation. So, at the same time, we want to have our awareness in the centre of the mind. So this is truly finding the centre of the mind, because we're finding the centre of the mind physically. This is the place where it's considered that our thoughts emerge, and also this in-between state between asleep and awake is considered the place from where our thoughts emerge. And we want to be there. We want to be in that place so that we can observe our thoughts. We don't have to control them. We don't have to try to make them stop. We don't have to think about them. In fact, we mustn't. We want to avoid thinking about them. But rather than going, must not think about my thoughts, I must not think about that, you're not going to think about even that. You're just going to focus on being in that place, that physical place, and being in that state, that place between asleep and awake, and just hovering there and letting whatever thoughts arise wash over you. And you'll find that you'll be able to then separate your awareness from your thoughts and observe them. At least that's the intent. You may get other effects as well, and provided they're positive, I certainly hope that you do. But even if you don't, at least you'll get a chance to begin experiencing that effect, which can be very profound. So, I've talked about that for nearly 20 minutes. Perhaps we should actually do it. So, the first thing I'd like you to do is to make sure you're sat properly. So remember the sitting position. We're sat forwards in the seat. Our feet are firmly on the ground. We're making our weight 50-50 between the feet and the sit bone, and then pushing into the ground a little bit through the feet to stretch, elongate the base of the spine. Then we're going to place the hands above the shoulders. And then push up so that we can really elongate the spine, sending the head up, pushing down, making a firm connection with the ground. So we're just trying to get a bit of a stretch going, just in case we haven't done any stretches before doing this meditation. And then just bringing the hands down and letting the backs of the hands rest about halfway along the thigh, the top of the thigh. Opening the shoulders out, so moving the shoulders apart sideways, so that we're trying to create a space in the chest. Still stretching the spine, keeping the head on top of the shoulders. And then, as I'm doing, and if you haven't done already, allowing the eyelids to close gently over the eyes. Bringing your awareness back to that place, your physical awareness, back to that place in the centre of your head. You don't have to worry about your breathing, as long as you breathe. Breathing is important, but for this exercise, we're not going to do anything with the breathing. We're just going to bring the awareness to the centre of the head. And immediately, hopefully, you'll start to feel a little more calm. And because you feel a little more calm, you can allow your awareness, you can allow your state, yourself to start to drift towards sleep. And as you're doing that, you want to spend maybe a couple of minutes just focusing in on your posture as well. So keeping your posture part of your thoughts, if you like, while you're holding your awareness in the centre of the head, that place we talked about, and allowing your state to slowly, gradually start to dip down towards sleep. We want to get yourself so that you're halfway between. And that's about as much talking as I need to do for you at the moment. So I'm going to let you carry on doing that. And just remember the things that I said. Awareness in the centre of the head. State halfway between awake and asleep. Now if you go too far, you'll probably nod off. That's not a problem. If you're not far enough, then you'll be a little bit more lively than you need to be. And you won't be able to separate yourself from your thoughts. So if your thoughts are playing you up, you need to go a little bit deeper. Go a little bit deeper. So it's an exercise of fine-tuning, both with where your physical awareness is and with where your state of being is. I'm going to switch over now to my music, which will be nice and quiet, but it'll be there to let you know that I'm still here and things haven't gone horribly wrong. And then when it's time to come back, I'll fade the music out and start talking you back out of it. But please make sure that when you do come out, you're going to come out slowly. Yeah. So if you hear the music fade, just know that it's time to start coming out then, but you're not out yet. But for now, that's not happening. We're just trying to find that place that we're calling the centre of mind. See you shortly. Just hold yourself in the place that you're at. Keep your awareness where it is. Start to bring your state back to awake. Keep your awareness in the center. Keep your physical awareness in the center. Just bringing your state gradually back to awake, to fully alert. As you're doing so, just notice what you notice within your body. If there's any signals coming to you from the body, any sounds, any sensations, and any visuals as well. So if your eyes are seeing something with your eyes still closed, just not focusing on it, but just paying attention to it, if that makes sense. Just be aware of it. And then just gradually, as you're starting to come back properly with your state, gradually expand your awareness so that it fills up your entire head, like a balloon expanding, but only to the size of your head. And then filling up down the body, going down the shoulders, down the arms to the fingertips, down the torso, filling up the entire body, all the way down the legs, right the way down to the tips of the toes, so that you are in some way aware of everything in your body. And then allow the eyelids to open. And let yourself come back to the here and now, but just keep a little bit of that something that you had there, just so that you can remember. Because if you can remember it, you can go there quite quickly. So see if you can bring some of that experience back with you and be aware of it. And maybe, reflect on that. Reflect on it now, and also reflect on it maybe in half an hour to an hour's time. So at this point, I'm kind of really tempted to say, how are you feeling? But no one can answer me, so, which is a shame. But what I would suggest is, if you do have any observations or questions that you'd like to let me know about or ask me, please do feel free to drop me a line, and I'll endeavour to come back to you as soon as I can. So either by email, or maybe a Facebook comment or something, I suppose. Or even a comment on here if you want it to be public, but it would be public if you comment to this video. Okay, so I'm going to wrap things up now that you all feel completely chilled and peaceful, hopefully. And just again, another reminder about the inner circle. I'm looking to open that up towards the end of June. It is for people who've worked with me in person. Probably, basically, if you've been on a meditation course in person with me, or you come to my Tai Chi classes, the chances are it's going to be okay. But if you're not sure, then again, drop me a line and we'll see. We can talk about it. And the other thing is, last week's live stream that I did, which was more of a sort of a vlog or something like that, which was just kind of talking about history of lineage and history of Worcester. I marked that private because I made a few mistakes and there were a few technical issues. And what I'm going to do is redo it probably this afternoon and upload it again. And I'll send out an email to the email list to let you know when that's done. And if you did watch it last time, do jump in and skip through, because there's probably some bits there that you'd like to see that you didn't see last time because they weren't there. And the other thing I was supposed to say is that if you aren't subscribed to my email list, then do subscribe so that you get that email. And also, if you're not subscribed to this YouTube channel, please do subscribe to this, because the more subscribers I get, the more visibility I get. And the more visibility I get, the more people watching, and the more people watching makes it more likely for me to do more of these things, which is good for everybody. Okay, so that's it from me for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've benefited from it. And I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Bye for now.